All right, everybody, welcome back to our deep dive into our champs matchups. Today, we'll be looking into our third game. We are, 6 days out, which will be LA Thieves versus Toronto Ultra. Should be a great matchup, but let's dive into it. Again, hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. If I messed up any stats or I wrote something down wrong, I apologize. You know, we're not all perfect except for you back at home. Just looking at the matchup head-to-head, these teams have played each other 3 times. It is 3-0 to Ultra right now. 9-0 in respawns. It's very interesting when you look at the head-to-head matchup, just kind of the stats. But 0-3 in Search and Destroy. So Thieves, they do have a little opening, I would say. Here is the most recent match between these two. You have a 22-point 6-star, a round 11 Rio, a Vista that's 50 points, and a round 5. So I think we've all seen signs of Thieves, this young roster getting better and better. This was, unfortunately, though, online. Like on land, we still haven't seen it against the best of the best. They had a really good chance, I think, at Major 4 to get into a top 3 position, but doesn't happen. So, again, it's just a question mark versus the top 4. Versus a team like Ultra, what ends up happening with this Thieves team. But here's a look at the head-to-heads between these two, just the player stats, who does well in this game. I mean, you see right here, you got Envoy with a 1.2, Inside with a 1.2, Scrap with a 1.21, Clinics with a 1.04. Nobody's even negative, but I think these stats are going to look real good on one side and really bad on the other because you're 9-0 in respawns. If you're 9-0 in respawns, you're dominating that game. But if you want to take a closer look, maybe at the Search and Destroy, what Thieves are winning, you got a 1.25 out of Inside. Everybody else struggles. I think what really shows out here too, and we'll get into this, is the opening dual win percentage for Ultra outside of Insight is very low. Now this is specifically in this game, but Thieves are one of the best at opening dual win percentages. And then on the other side, you have CleanX with a 43, Envoy at 25%. Like those two are going to be who opens things up, and then Scrap. I mean, we all know he'll take any gunfight. For that to be below 50% was a bit surprising to me. But that's just in the head-to-head. Now let's jump into LA Thieves. Their recent performances, maybe sort of trends throughout the season. This is a team who's had a lot of roster changes. You can see the hard point's still not great throughout Stage 4, 7, 11. On the other side, this is the number 2 ranked team in Search and Destroy, 4 and 6 in Control, but that got worse at land. So let's jump into the hard point. The problem is they don't really have a strong hard point map. If you look at Major 4, you have a 2-2 Karachi. You have a 1-0 sub base, but here's the key with these two. They actually vetoed these two the most. So your best maps are the maps you look to veto. Maybe that'll switch up. This is a team that likes to play your Rios, your Vistas, your 6-stars, right? They like pacing, like to play quickly. The problem is you just don't have a lot of wins there. And you can see you picked Rio 5 times. You're 1-4 on Rio. Not the best. Your map picks you at least want to, I feel like you at least want to go 50-50 on if you're picking those games. So something to look out for Thieves is their map choices, specifically in Hardpoint. They'll have to clean some of those up. They only played Vista and Rio. And honestly, when you look at the stats wise, it's kind of been the same thing all year. It's one guy who's over a 1.0 KD, just consistency. And I think everybody's had impactful plays. We've seen it out of Jodeci's. We've seen it out of Kremp. Nasty can always make plays, but on a consistent level in respawns, especially against the top, it's been one guy in Ghosty. So he's just going to need some help if they want to get some hardpoint wins. So we'll see if they keep opting for Rio at Champs. Search and Destroy, just again, obviously this team's been getting better, but 20-9 in the last 2 stages. So it's not only like they've been this Search team who went Oh, that was Control. I confused myself. 9-4 in Stage 4. They went 9-4 and 10-5. So this has been, a 3-month thing now, where this has been one of the better S&D teams that we have in our league. They were 7-3 in map 2s through Stage 4, 2-1 in map 5s. Here's the thing for me. If this team can clean up these respawns, they are a great Search team. They need to win 1 or 2 against the best to get to a game 5. If they have a chance, if they can get to the game 5, I think they have a real chance to cause some upsets here. I think the problem is they just got to get there, right? You've only seen 3. How many matches did they play? You got 3 here, 7 here, so 10. Again, you have 1 loss there, but you can see in your losses, it's a 1-3, it's an 0-3, it's a 1-3, it's a 1-3. If we can get to these game 5s, I think this record, or maybe you would have some bigger wins. You look at last major, it's a game 4, it's a game 4. So we're not getting to our strengths, right? Not getting to our strengths. right here. This is stage 3, obviously, but 3 game 5 wins in a row. They end up losing the 4th. They then win 2 game 4s, but then they lose game 4. So those top teams just not getting to that game 5. Not saying they're going to win every game 5, but if they want to cause some upsets, I think they got to get there. Search and Destroy, they have very strong Rio, 4-0 on the year. In Rio, or 4-0 this stage, 7-1 on the year. Their second option through stage 4 has been Invasion, where they were 3-2. Even on Invasion, with 3-2, they were the number 3 attacking team and number 2 defending team on Invasion. So something to look out for them, right? I think if you look at just their stats, I don't know how many Rios they will play, but they have other options. A lot of teams didn't want to play them on high rise, so these will probably be the big 2 for them. Maybe if they can get better at Karachi, someone like Ultra is going to play Karachi. So, they're just going to have to make some adjustments. Who's going to score up with them on Rio? If not, where are you going to find wins? But 6R, I believe, has been like their S&D veto. Yeah, all of stage 4. They vetoed it 9 times. And that's why, right? Stage 3, they went 1-4. That was majority of their losses. So you can see it was a little bit more spread out, but they've pretty much focused on these 4. Their high rise was a lot better. I think teams vetoed that versus them. So they had to look elsewhere. They got their Rio map pick in. So they got to do that. They had such a strong high rise. Now the question will be, okay, if teams are taking away Rio, we have our high rise. We can play our comfort on that. So that is the LA Thieves Search and Destroy. Here's just a quick look. And one of the key things that I actually found interesting is they are the number 1 opening duel rate team in stage 4. So if you look at this stat, which we've seen in some of the past, but everybody is above 50%. Nasty leads it. But this is just strong across the board. I mean, really all of their stats are in Search and Destroy throughout stage 4. But that is the one thing that stood out to me was how good they are at opening duel win percentages. I want to say their conversion rate was ranked 10, if I remember correctly, with a 70%, which you could have some improvements there. But it just feels like this is sort of we're going to fry as a commission, whether it's going to be Kremp and Joe DeCeves running around together. And Nasty and Josie, they're willing to take opening fights, and I think that gives you a lot of options in S&D. So that's one of their strengths moving into champs. Control online, it wasn't bad. Online, it was not bad at all. It was 4-3. The problem is at LAN it was 0-3. So that's where they got smoked at the major. They did lose all in round 5 at the major, so they lost 3 round 5s in a row. So that's going to be a big thing for them to win that control, especially going up against Ultra. I mean, if you can cause an upset there, Ultra's probably been the number 1 control team on the year. And one of the big things is their attack struggled in stage 4 and at the major. They were ranked 10 on offense. Their defense is great. They play a lot of invasion. The problem is they are finding no success in attacking rounds. They were 1-7 on land, 0-5 in invasion. So this is a team, they offer invasion a good amount. They played it the most. They'll play some other maps. But if they're going to play invasions, they have to find a way to win an offense every now and then. This is a team that gets to round 5s a lot due to how good their defense is. It's just, if their offense isn't good enough, how are you going to secure defense in round 5? So that's it for the 3 game modes for LA Thieves. Now moving on to Ultra. This is a team that has been strong across the board, especially when you look at respawns. In stage 4, they were the number 2 ranked team. In Control, they were number 1 ranked team. They've been this way since the start of the year when they won Major 1. One of best respawn teams. Hardpoint is 52-19. Controls 30-15. Their search, there's room for improvement, but a lot of these losses are in online. Their search actually gets a lot better on LAN, and we'll get into that here in a bit. But one of the things they need to stop is these breakdowns. If you look at the way that they go out, even champs last year, it's just not good. So you obviously have that 1-3 loss, but then you have the first match on a Sunday and you get 3-0 bopped. And this is just something that's come up a number of times with this roster. Obviously, Envoy's new to it, but again, you had the same thing at champs. First match of the day, just very slow. There's not one player. It's ugly across the board. You're getting some of your better maps, and you just got smoked against New York. Earlier in the year, right, you had a matchup versus Optic in the final. 0-4, 4-0'd. Obviously, Insights minus 30, but again, it's just not pretty across the board for either of these teams. I'm not exactly sure what it is with Ultra. Then you look at Major 2 versus New York again. It's a 3-0. They get smoked. Map 1 versus the top 4 for them is just extremely important because their search and destroy hasn't been good enough. So I think they're 4-8 on the year when they lose map 1. Versus the top 4, that record may be even worse. But so this is a team, whatever that is, whatever that trigger is between this main trio, whether it's the map 1, whether it's a comms thing, it's a little bit wild, but it's starting to be a trend here with this Ultra team. So if you're an Ultra fan, yeah, hopefully they come out hot. A Hardpoint at Major 4 was not good. They were 3-5 at the Major. And I think one of the big problems is not only they got a lot of their really strong maps at the Major. They played Karachi twice. They lost it two times to LAG and Seattle Surge. Like two teams you wouldn't expect them to. They were 16-2 on the year going into that, and then they lose that. They were 9-3 in map 1s, 4-4 in map 4 throughout this stage. Their auto veto has been Rio throughout stage 4. They did that in Vista, playing a lot of Karachi, a lot of 6-star. Was that the same in Major or stage 3? Vista Rio. So it seems like that's swapped. It seems like they're a little bit more open to playing Vista, where this was 4-3, and they've gotten away from Rio. So we'll see if that stays the same. You can see their 6-star really strong. I think they were 5-0 going into the Major on that, and they lost at the Major. So yeah, not exactly sure what was wrong. Even when you look at their individual stats at Major 4, there's not much that's changed. Like, yes, people got worse because when you're losing, that's going to happen. But I think like your worst one was Envoy to 0.87 on LAN. He had a 1.0 online. Like, yeah, you'd love that to have it, but 0.87 for an entry sub, we've had worse. But they were 2-0 or 2-4 on Karachi and Vista at Major 4. So I mean, just for them, I just think some fundamentals on some of their map picks, where they want to go, how they want to play it. They just lost some of their big ones that they were winning all year long, which caused some wild upsets. Search and Destroy, 4-5 online in stage 4, 4-2 on LAN. Listen, if you go back and look at their stage 1, they were 9-3 throughout stage 1, but they were 5-0 on LAN. So 4-3 online. This is a team that I think they just prep. I would probably say, specifically in Search, maybe better than anyone when it comes to matchups. Maybe you can argue like a New York is in there. They were 5-0 on LAN. They auto veto high rise. They haven't played that all year. They 0-4 on the year. You can see it's the most vetoed by far. They also didn't play Terminal, but we don't have that map anymore. So they've really always had an auto veto. They've been pretty much open to play anything else. Karachi's their #1 map pick. One of the keys for them is sort of they've ranked 10. So we talked about on the LA Thieves side how good they are at opening dual win percentage. On the other side, it is very low. So you see the difference here. The only player at 50% is Scrap. Now this is just stage 4, but it's a major change, and they're still winning a lot of these searches. So I think if they can clean that up, like you see you have Kleenex who's at a 46%, Envoy's at 47%. It's very, very low when you talk about your sub players compared to the LA Thieves, where you have 66, Kremp's at 58, Joe Deceives is close to 60%. So if you're going to watch this match, specifically in Search, watch out for those first bloods, just which way they're starting to go towards. But for Ultra, maybe that's one thing to look on, is just kind of how they're starting rounds. Control was tough to go in on, because if you look at stage 4, I mean, we talked about it, every single match with them, all they tried to do was force high rise, right? It's what they had to get better on. This was just due to the fact against the top 4 teams at Major 3, they went 4-4 on Invasion. They didn't play high rise at all. They had to switch up their map pool. Going into Major 4, stage 4, this is what they focused on. The problem is that when you get rid of an Invasion, the other team can pick Karachi. And going into the year, they were 11-1. But in stage 4, they were 1-2. So now they kind of have this, all right, we're so good at high rise now. Are people going to start vetoing that? And they're just going to have a decision to make. Do we go back to our Karachi, where we obviously had some mistakes? Again, they lost both of those on LAN. Or do we start implementing Invasion again? Maybe some of the top teams will play them on high rise. But if you look at their high rise, they were ranked #2 in stage 4 on attacking. They were ranked 2 in defending, 17-4. So just, good gameplay all around. Again, they've been avoiding Invasion, trying to avoid those sort of round five defenses. They want to play with pace. Again, it's just the issue is at LAN, similar to like their hardpoint, it's, you've been so good on some of these maps. When they finally got to play them again, they lost it. So they're just going to have to focus up on some of their fundamentals on their stronger maps, so that when they're forcing teams to play them on those, they are an advantage. And we talk about that on broadcast times when you don't see a map in an official match for so long. You can have some cobwebs. You can be a little bit rusty. I don't know if that was the case for them, but it seems to be that way. Overall, just sort of, talking points. Thieves, can you get us to a game 5? They have some absolute breakdowns. Yeah, if you watch the last major, the LAG series against Thieves ended up being a 3-0. It was done after this. This was a 100-point lead. It was like 180-80. LAG came back and win. This is just a very young team. I think when they make mistakes, they break down a bit. And then on the other side for Ultra, when you start to lose early, can you recover? And you might be able to do that against like a Thieves, but what are you about against the top 4? And then when they get their strong maps, I think they just have to convert them into victories. So it's like they're playing this map pool very well. They've had some weaker maps. They've turned them into strong maps. If you look at Control on High Rise, but it's like, okay, now if we're playing our Karachis, can we win those? So that's going to be the key for me for Ultra. And then their Search and Destroy. Can they keep improving on land? Let's talk map vetoes now, just between these two. I think this is going to be pretty straightforward. It could be very similar to the match that we already had. So I'll pull up those stats again between these two. So you had a 6-star Rio, High Rise, Vista. All right. So let's start with the hardpoint. Ultra, stage 4. They avoided Rio. I think that's probably a good call. Probably not going to play Thieves here. LAT on the other side. Karachi or sub base. Probably going to veto. This is what's weird. It's like both of them are solid. If I had to guess, they'll veto Karachi. Which then for Ultra, it's kind of up to them. LAT, I assume. One of them's going to pick Vista. Probably just depends who it is. Let's just say Ultra pick 6-star. What was in our last series online? It was 6-star Vista. What could get interesting is this LATs opt to play subbase here. But I assume they'll probably go Vista here. Because Ultra throughout the year has been so strong on subbase. But since it's champs, there is that option. There is also the option where our Vista hasn't been great. If we are Ultra recently, maybe we pick a subbase. Try to just opt for that. So that's what I'm thinking, but I could easily see subbase working into this. S&D wise, again, you just have some auto vetoes here. So Ultra, Ultra veto High Rise. LAT, they're going to veto 6-star. Yeah, 6-star. So yeah, actually, LAT are probably going to pick Rio again. And I think you have some wins here on Rio where, and because it's around 11, Ultra have beaten FaZe on land. They might just pick it. Probably not afraid to play them on it. Stick with the High Rise veto. You've done it all year. So that means Ultra then will have a choice of what they want to play. Karachi or 6-star. Well, they can't pick 6-star, so they'll probably pick Karachi here. Which are these the same two? These are the same two. That would have been game 5 in our online series. And then it's down to the control. Again, it depends if it's Team A or Team B. If Ultra picked Team B, they would have the veto. Yeah, versus these, I think they probably veto Invasion. And if you're LAT, I might go High Rise versus them. Here's the one thing with LA Thieves. Their Karachi was 1-0. They just don't pick it often. They don't veto it often. It's just not picked. There is the chance they go with it. Their High Rise wasn't fantastic in stage 4, sitting at a 1-3. So this could be the wild card. I think from a comfort pick, they'll pick High Rise, but if they've been working on it, prepping it, like there is this chance that Karachi gets in, especially knowing that Ultra lost 2 of them back-to-back in the last major. Just sort of a choice here if you're LA Thieves, right? Because they lost it to New York, and they lost it to, was it Surge? Yeah, they lost it 3-2 in round 5. My mind is telling me they'll pick High Rise. My heart's telling me they're going to pick Karachi. I don't know what that means, but that's what I'm going with. So yeah, that is the Ultra versus LA Thieves matchup. Winners round 1. That is the 3rd match of the day at Champs. Again, Champs starts Thursday, July 18th. Hopefully you've been enjoying these deep dives into our matchups. I hope you have a great day. Make sure to like the video, and I'll see you next time for Optic versus LAG.